I'm going to cover my fish cake with some white satin ice rolled fondant. So when you're rolling out your fondant, you want it to be about 1/4 of an inch in thickness, no thinner than probably 1/8 of an inch, and you want to make sure that you roll out a piece that is large enough to thoroughly cover your shape. And I'm just using my hands to gently, attach the fondant to the cake, and then I'm going to go around and trim off any excess with this pizza cutter. I'll do a better job of trimming up the bottom edge in a minute, but right now I just want to trim off this excess because I can stick it in a plastic bag and it won't be drying out, and I can use it for something else. Next, I'm going to use the fondant smoother tool to smooth the fondant, and I've sped up the video because I did spend quite a bit of time doing this. Notice that I have a couple of holes in my fondant. I'm not going to worry about them because they'll get covered up with decoration. And once I've smoothed the fondant out, then I'm going to go around with my offset angled spatula that's tapered and do a better job of trimming around the bottom edge. And then I'm going to take the same spatula and make some score marks along the tail to give it a little bit of texture. Next, I want to mark where the gill is going to be. So using this little spatula as a guide, I'm just going to kind of score down and then make a bigger impression using this veining tool. Now that I know where the fish's gill is, I can start working on the scales. And to make the scales, I'm just using a standard piping tip, and I'm coming at the fondant kind of from an angle to imprint a little semicircle using the large opening of the piping tip. And I'm going to do this all along the fish's back and his body, from the gill to the tail. Okay, and that's the fish covered in scales. Now I have patterns for the fins that I've made out of wafer paper. I got this fish cake idea out of a book by Colette Peters, and that book has these patterns in it, and I just traced the pattern onto the wafer paper using an edible marker and then cut them out. And so I've rolled my fondant to 1/8 of an inch thick, and I'm just using these patterns and my spatula edge there to cut out the fins. And now I'm going to use my veining tool to ruffle up the fins so that they look a little bit more realistic. I'm just literally scoring marks up and down the fins and then kind of ruffling them a little bit more around the edges so they look torn up. And then you're just going to attach the fins to the fish. For this one down here at the bottom, I'm just sliding it underneath the body of the cake. For this one here, you may want to add a little bit of gum glue. This top fin here, I'm just going to use my spatula to slide the edge underneath and try to ruffle it up so that it looks a bit realistic. To make the fish's lips, you just want to roll a thin snake of fondant and then use some gum glue to attach it at the fish's mouth. And then once he has all of his fins and his lips, he is ready to paint.